One more question. Another big fight coming up in the welterweight division. Well, if it ever gets finalized, Thurman versus Porter. What are your thoughts on that? Being that Danny may be a potential opponent in the future.
Well, I think it's a good fight. I mean, they could have. I don't know why they calling each other out. They both elite fighters. It don't make sense. They still young. I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Like, I want to sound right. I want to sound like it's not a great fight. It is a great fight. But at the end of the day, somebody will go home with a hole. So, they want to do that. It's up to them. They making good money to be calling each other out. At the end of the day, it's about retiring wealthy. Somebody's going home with a hole that night. So that's up to the management. Not the management. It's up to the teams, the coaches, and all that. It don't make sense calling each other out. And what they both elite fighters. They go for great fighters. Right?
What do you mean it doesn't make sense calling each other out?
Because the thing is this. What I'm trying to say is that they both elite fighters. Why would you fight? Put it to you this way. Why would you fight each other when you can fight a soccer?
To see who's the best. What you mean fight a soccer?
But you don't need that right now. It's about listen. Listen what I'm saying. 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 It's about the bank being loaded. It's not about the glory. That's why Oscar is at where he's at right now. It's not about it's about the glory. Don't get me. I don't want you to misunderstand this. Sometimes it's not about the glory, brother. It's about the paper.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy 2K the God, my man Sess. Welcome to the Gods of Boxing Talk. Now, I want to do an isolation segment on Danny Garcia. You guys just peeped the video. If you skip to it, you hear it now. Did Danny Garcia really lose to Robert Guerrero? And the reason why I'm asking that question is because I've been all over different social media websites, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Google Pluses, etc., 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 right? I've seen a lot of cats out there basically state that Robert Guerrero was robbed and that he won the fight. And I've also seen just as many people out there say that the fight should have been a draw, right? So, in my eyes, I had it 7-5. I believe my man Sess, he had it the same way, 7-5 for Danny Garcia. While that's a very close decision, 115-113, it's a clear win. I feel it should have been unanimous, 115-113, no draw, no Guerrero win. You know what I'm saying? What do you guys really think? Sess,
what up?
Did he do enough? Because we already know you thought Danny won the fight, but did he do enough to win the fight or to warrant opinions out there that he won the fight?
I think he did, and I think he did enough based off of Guerrero doing very little toward the latter part of the fight. He had a good 12th round, but after the first few rounds that I had him winning in the middle, he didn't do shit. All he did was stand in front of Danny, and he just let Danny get off. And Danny was winning those rounds clearly because he was letting his hands go more.
Right.
Guerrero just started standing in front of Danny. He started coming in behind nothing. He wasn't doing anything. Yep. And Danny was just peppering his ass. He was hitting him with whatever he wanted to.
Yep.
So, and a pretty good example of that is, I'm not sure what round it was, but Danny threw the same right hand to the stomach, left hook upstairs combination at least 3 times, and Guerrero never checked it. He was just standing there getting hit.
Right.
So, and for the most part, it was left hook city. Danny couldn't miss with his left hand.
Couldn't miss with his right either.
Yeah, exactly, man. He threw a straight right hand at Robert Guerrero, and I thought Floyd jumped back in the ring and did the shit. So when Danny's looking like that, man, against a guy that's supposed to be a pretty good contender, it's not a good night, for the guy that he's fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. The beginning of the fight went quite well for Robert Guerrero. He did exactly what I felt he needed to do to win the fight. Me and you kind of differ a little bit on that.
Yeah.
the principle is that he fought behind the jab, right?
Yep.
He came forward and he was using his jab. And that's exactly what the old Robert Guerrero used to do against, Michael Katsidis, Joel Casamayor. That was Selkik Iden. That was the Robert Guerrero that needed to show up in this fight, and that was the Robert Guerrero that Ruben and Robert himself were advertising before the fight actually happened, right? Yeah. I remember seeing an article where Robert Guerrero said, "I'm going back to the old Guerrero for this fucking fight," and that's exactly what he did for the first 5 rounds. Yeah. But after that, it could have been what you said. Ruben Guerrero told him to think more. Yes. Whatever the fuck it was, he wasn't boxing. This motherfucker, in my opinion, he wasn't boxing. He started coming forward with no jab. Yeah. And to me, that turns into a guy who's just looking to get on the inside, right? Yeah. And trying to make it a rough fight. Like, think Aaron Martinez. He does that. He'll come forward behind a guard with no jab and then just unleash hooks on the inside. Robert Guerrero was coming forward, but his fists were like this with no jab. So what was Danny doing? Motherfucker was teeing off. Right hook, left hook. What my man said, his favorite combination, right hook to the body, then come left hook top. And his head is usually dipped just like that. Left hook top. That shit was the entire second half of this fight. I mean, people, you can't sit there and tell me, if you actually listen to if you're watching the fight and you had the volume up, you can't tell me that majority of those the second half of the fight, you heard this. Woo! That's all we kept hearing with Danny Garcia landing right and left hooks. And it was mainly Robert Guerrero, just like I said, coming forward without a guard high and not behind the jab, doing exactly the opposite of what he did in the first half of the fight. That's what I think gave Danny Garcia the fight. Secondly, I want to emphasize on something about Danny Garcia's IQ. Very underrated, and he kind of reminds me of Arthur Abraham, of how he starts out very slow, and then he adjusts. His IQ takes form, right? And he wins fights. Now, I said this on a social media site. Motherfuckers like, he wins fights with his IQs. What the fuck? He lost like 6 fights already. And I was like, who are the other motherfuckers? Because he really unofficially lost to fucking Mauricio Herrera and fucking Lamont Peterson. Who are the other 18 motherfuckers you talking about, right? But the point I'm trying to make is this: in fights where they're close, think Zab Judah, right? Think Kendall Holt, right? And fights where they're close, my man's IQ, it supersedes what his opponent is able to do in the ring, and that's what gets him the win. Now, I'm saying his IQ is good enough for these type of guys, not the elite at 147, not the Tim Bradleys, not the fucking Keith Thurman. But against the Robert Guerreros, he didn't fight Aaron Martinez, but him, the middle tier, so to speak, of the 147. His IQ will always beat those guys. If these guys fought 5 more times, Danny Garcia will beat him 5 straight times, in my opinion. They'll all be close fights, but Danny Garcia will win 5 times because of his IQ level. All right? Absolutely. And that's pretty much sums up why the fuck he got ahead on my scorecard by 1 round. That's why. So, I mean, it's another thing I want to address real quick before we end it, is the a question of what did this fight really do to Danny Garcia? I mean, I said this before the fight even happened. You guys have already seen, the video. Listen to the video that I did at the beginning of this video. Angel Garcia told us that they pick these fighters because they are less of a risk than fighting the best of each division, and they maximize revenue. He said, and I quote, "Why would you look for a Thurman Porter when you could fight a Salka?" What were me and Seth saying in the video, like 30 videos prior to this one, where we talked about Danny Garcia cherry picking and Miguel Cotto ducking? We said exactly what Angel Garcia just fucking confirmed. They cherry pick their fighters so they can maximize revenue and increase their popularity. Let's face it, Danny Garcia is the face of PBC as far as Puerto Ricans go. I think the face in general would be Keith Thurman, but Danny Garcia is right behind him. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Al Heyman's going to make sure that his popularity is maximized with the Puerto Rican fans because it generates revenue for him and his fighter. Thus, why Angel Garcia is not looking to put Danny Garcia in there with any of the elite motherfuckers, and he so much as said it in the video. All right.
Absolutely.
Now this fight actually just made it worse for him because it was, in my opinion, it was a cherry picked fight. Not because Robert Guerrero sucks or anything, but he's clearly the second tier fighter in the welterweight division, in a division that Danny Garcia is well acclimated in. Don't let him fool you in thinking that he's too small for the division and he needs to fight tune-ups to get acclimated. No. Against Paulie Malignaggi, Malignaggi is a guy that's been campaigning at welterweight for fucking years now, right? He's been there for years, okay? Yeah. Against him, Danny was 2 times bigger than him. Yeah. All across the back, Danny looked like motherfucking Lou Ferrigno compared to Paulie Malignaggi. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to tell me that he's trying to get acclimated? No, he's perfect for the division. Yep. He doesn't need tune-ups. He just unified a division 7 pounds prior, and then the fight before he fought Paulie Malignaggi, the goddamn weight limit was 145. Okay? Yeah. And Lamont Peterson. He doesn't need to get acclimated. He's ready. We don't need to see him against Paulie. We don't need to see him against Robert Guerrero. We need to see him against the elites. Yeah. And that's exactly what the fuck we want from this guy. There's no hating. It's just pure facts. Yep. It's pure facts. So, again, what did this fight do for him? It did nothing because it created a blueprint. That's why you got that's why you got Thurman out there saying, "Oh shit, I'll fight Danny Garcia right after Sean Porter." That's why you got cats out there talking about they want to fight Danny Garcia next. Amir Khan is this motherfucker sucking his fingers like he just ate a juicy ass piece of fried chicken, dog. He can't wait to get in the ring with fucking Danny Garcia now after seeing that fight. Yeah. All right. I've seen some rumors about people saying Floyd Mayweather's gonna fight Danny Garcia next. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out of retirement and took Danny Garcia's WBC belt. Easy work. You know what I'm saying? Robert Guerrero created a blueprint that Danny Garcia could have prevented happening from a B-level fighter, right? Instead of just fighting an elite where he could have lost, but he still would have been considered elite in the division. Yeah. That's all I got to say on the subject matter. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely agree, man. I absolutely agree. I don't have much to add to that. Yeah. You pretty much killed it. Like I said, I agree with everything you said.
All right. Well, on that note, you two, we go ahead and conclude this video. Do what you do in the comment section. Be real. What did you think? Did you think Robert Guerrero really won this fight? Was it a draw? Did Danny Garcia win? Did Danny Garcia look good in defeat? I clearly disagree with that. But we welcome all opinions. Do what you do in the comment section. Be real. This is real talk for real fans.